Oh, what is the Epskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 97 of my little gaming show where once a week I just has to talk about video games, old games that I grew up with, new games that I'm playing today. It doesn't matter, video games. So, if you can read the title, today we're doing, I don't know, it's kind of weird because I never played this game, not this particular one, but I played the other one when I was younger, but I'm doing Pokémon Stadium 2. And I played this on the Nintendo Switch Online, so I guess it's kind of a retrospective backlog episode. It's an old game that I haven't played that was on my backlog. So there you go. That is what we're doing today. But before we get into the Pokémon Stadium talk, let's talk about what I have been up to over the last week or so. As I always encourage you, the viewer, the listener, let me know what you have been up to over the last week or whatever amount of time. What games are you playing right now? Did you get the Elden Ring DLC? I just re-downloaded my Elden Ring in preparation to maybe get this DLC. I'm not going to lie, it creeped up on me. I was like, holy shit, that is out right now. And I admittedly not like prepped up or ready for an Elden Ring experience, especially like now it's going to be really, really hard. But I don't have a big meaty game that I'm playing right now. So my schedule is open for some Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, so let me know if you got into it. Don't spoil anything. I've listened to a review of it, no spoilers, but yeah, it sounds like it's very awesome and very hard. So I might be diving back into Elden Ring soon. We will see, but let me know. What games are you playing? What movies have you seen lately? And what TV shows are you diving into as I let you know what I've been doing? So, no room for any movies this week because I've been focusing on a little bit more television shows because one really caught my attention this week. It's newer, it's done now, and that is X-Men 97. This has been on my list, been wanting to watch it for a bit, but I was waiting for that to finish out. It's done, and now I'm getting in there. And I watched the original cartoon from the early mid-90s or whatever. I remember watching it. I was a huge Cyclops guy. I don't even know why. He's such a dork and just like the most generic good guy. Like, oh, let's do everything correctly and buy the books, everyone. Haha. But I liked him, but this new X-Men 97 has that very same art style. It looks like a 90s show, which is fantastic. I love old school animation. The characters are great. I mean, I'm admittedly not the biggest X-Men person. I like this cartoon. The movies, none of the live action movies have done it for me. I tried that, first 3 X-Men, wasn't really big on any of them, especially the second and third ones were just snooze fest for me. And yeah, haven't really touched X-Men since. There's been a lot, but yeah, not anything since 97. And this show is freaking really dope, man. Some of the animation and some of the action sequences in the show are fucking sick. One episode that stuck out to me because it has video games in it is Jubilee. She's one of the X-Men. She gets pulled into this video game with some bad dude. It was admittedly a little bit underwhelming. I was expecting a little bit more of the video game thing, but it's a cool show, man. I really dig it. It's I can't really say too much without spoiling stuff, but it takes place right after the events of the original cartoon ended. So you're just kind of kicking off there. You don't have to watch the original cartoon to, get up to speed. They'll catch you up pretty quickly. And yeah, man, if you like X-Men, then this is probably a must watch. If you like animation or old school style cartoons in the 90s fashion, I don't know, this could be really your thing as well. It's on Disney Plus, and yeah, man, I'm really digging it. I think I'm already at episode 6 or 7, so yeah, just crushing it. Solid 30-minute episodes. Hell yeah, highly recommend X-Men 97. The other show I'm watching, of course, is The Challenge with my wife. We're still crushing the Ride or Die season. Almost done now. I think we're probably on the final episode, I do believe. Really liking that show, of course, as well as you might have known that from listening to this for a little bit. We have decided that we're going to finish off, once we're done this season of Challenge, we're going to hit up that latest season of Survivor, switch it up a little bit. Then we might hit The Boys season 4, because that's starting to come out now, so we're planning it. Hopefully by the time we get through the challenge and Survivor, The Boys season 4 will be all done, because they're doing it weekly, which we don't like. So hopefully that'll be done. Very excited for The Boys. You got season 4, and they said season 5 will be the last season of The Boys. But hey, how about Diabolical season 2? I think that's what they called the animated The Boys season. And there's also the Gen V, which is another spin-off live-action show around The Boys universe. Also excellent. But yeah, can't wait to get into The Boys 4. If you've gotten into it, let me know. Are you enjoying it so far? I am hearing pretty damn good things as usual with The Boys, but I am avoiding spoilers for right now. So let's talk about some video games that I've been playing this week. Okay. So I started playing this Moving Out game. It's a little indie game. Started playing that with my wife. It is a fantastic little couch co-op game to play with your siblings, your significant other. I don't know if you can play this one alone. That'd be kind of redundant, but the whole point of it, very simple, is you are working for like a moving company and you're moving shit out of people's places. And of course, like they have levels, and you know, they'll throw little things at you like, oh, there's ghosts in this one, or there's like, you know, shit like that. It's obstacles to make you work around it. And if you've played Overcooked and enjoyed that, it's very similar to that. I would say my wife and I have played Overcooked. We found it much less frustrating to play it together as a team. Like, Overcooked is designed to like frustrate you and make you angry at each other. That's like the fun of it. And this one, has a little bit of that, of course. Like, it's literally like you're moving furniture out of a house. Like, if you've ever moved in real life, I've done it numerous times. It can get very frustrating very quickly sometimes. And yeah, there was only one time so far. My wife, we played a lot of it actually this weekend. Very fun. But only one time we were just like, what the heck, man? Like, where were you on that? And but it's a great little fun game. Not too long. We're not done it yet. You can just go through the levels moving everything out, but then you unlock moving things in. So you take the things, you put them back in. We tried that a couple times. It's just a goofy, charming, delightfully fun little game that I would recommend to anybody that, you know, wants to play something with their significant other and is looking for a good couch co-op experience, because, you know, there's a lot less of those experiences nowadays, but yeah, that is one of the better couch co-op experiences I would say my wife and I have had with each other, and we are definitely going to be diving into Moving Out 2 once, I think there's a second one anyway, but yeah, we'll check that one out. We've really enjoyed this one, so that's been key. So the Nintendo Direct thingy came out. I'm pissed, first of all. Very pissed off. You want to know why? Yet again. No fucking Wind Waker, man. Like, God, what are you doing? Why are you waiting? We all know you have it. Just give me it. Give me what I want, you sons of bitches. But from what I can tell, the homie Billy ran me down some of the highlights, and I was like, yeah, it looked pretty good, pretty meaty. I haven't looked at any of the trailers yet, but, you know, the Zelda game sounds pretty neat. The Mario and Luigi looks neat. Metroid Prime obviously looks, it's going to be pretty sweet. I have yet to beat a Metroid Prime game yet. I own all of them, but have yet to play them. So yeah, I gotta get on that at some point here. So, fuck was I talking about? Oh, so the Direct. They released some new games on the N64 and the Game Boy Advanced, and Metroid Zero Mission dropped, and I was like, oh, I feel like that was like the number 1, number 2 game that I asked for on my Game Boy Advance wish list, and bam, they must have listened to me specifically. This is all because of me, so thank me, send me money, and that would be cool. But Metroid Zero Mission, the remake of the original Metroid on Nintendo, the old gray box, you know what I'm saying? And that game, you know, hasn't aged gracefully, and this remake is fantastic so far. Only played about an hour, and I really enjoyed Fusion last year, I think I played it last year. Really like that, and yeah, so far it's it plays just like Fusion because it's same thing, but different story. So I'm interested to see the beginning of Samus's story. This is very interesting. I'm not like huge into the Metroid like story and the lore or everything, but I'm getting more into it because I've been playing a lot of Metroid games the last couple years. I did Dread, I did a couple of the older ones, Fusion. I'm doing this one. I got Metroid Prime Remastered I want to do. So I've been rocking some Metroid, and I've been really enjoying Metroid. So maybe get more into the lore and the story. Because I know a little bit, but not a lot. So there is that. And the big game that I've gotten into this week, I mean, it's not big, but it's a big one for me that I'm finally knocking off my list, and that is the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. I don't know if I talked about this on my gaming shames, but I have never played the original Crash Bandicoot games. I've never played any Crash Bandicoot games outside of Crash Bash, which is like a party game in the Crash Bandicoot world. And so I have played the Nitro, the kart racer, the refueled one. I played a little bit of that and really enjoyed it. It just fell off. Actually, probably will get back into that, but playing through the Crash trilogy. So be expecting, I feel like it's going to be next week's episode, will be the Crash Bandicoot trilogy retrospective and my first experiences with these games, because I've never played them before. I've seen them from afar. I remember seeing commercials for it a lot as a kid, but I was a Spyro kid growing up, so this could also lead into a potential versus series, Spyro the Dragon versus Crash Bandicoot. I can work on that, or I was even thinking possibly bigger, where it's Insomniac versus Naughty Dog, the two companies that are still going very strong today. We can go back and look at all their games, because I've played, not all of them, but a vast majority of both of these companies' games. I love both companies, so if you're interested, let me know. We can do two verses and just, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of potential here for some shit. So I want to do the trilogy retrospective first. I am already on the third game, about halfway through. I am not 100%ing them. I will not be doing that. No fuego. Not for me. It's just, can't do it. I did it, no problem on Spyro. We'll talk about why I won't be 100%ing these games when we'll do the retrospective on it. But I've been playing a lot of Crash, man. Just hella enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and this reboot thing from Toys for Bob, really good job with this one as well. I did their Spyro Reignited, and this one, very, very good job as well so far. So that should be next week's episode. And yeah, that's everything that I have been up to this week. Let me know what y'all have been up to, and let's get into it, baby. It's time to talk about some Pokemon. I love Pokemon, so this is going to get nerdy, y'all. This is going to get nerdy. Let's do it. Pokemon Stadium, you. Baby, who is ready for some friggin' Pokemon? Let's do this shit. So, Pokemon Stadium 2. This game came out hella late, at least in North America, on the Nintendo 64. I think it dropped in like 2001, and at that point, we were already into the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and all that stuff. So, I don't know a lot of the history behind this game. I don't know if this was one that was, not a lot of people got to play this game because it came out so late. Is this a game that is very difficult to find? I mean, I don't own it, and I haven't, gone out of my way to look up and see how much this game is going for, but it has Pokemon in the title, and you would have to imagine it's going for a pretty penny. Now, I have had a little bit of experience with the Pokemon Stadium 1 game. I played a little bit of that growing up, mostly the mini games. I was like 4 years old. I didn't know what the fuck the Pokemon battling thing was yet. So the mini games were as basic as I got with my Pokemon Stadium 1 experiences early in my life. I purchased Pokemon Stadium later when I was game collecting and all that stuff. I don't feel like I played it a whole lot. I might have played it a couple of times against friends doing the actual battle mode, but I don't think I've actually gone through Pokemon Stadium 1 either, and I don't even really understand my reasoning for going straight to Pokemon Stadium 2, but I did, because it's just going to be the upgraded, like the DLC ultimate version of Pokemon Stadium. It's got 252 Pokemon instead of the original 151 in the first game. It's got more mini games. The graphics are probably a little bit better. And honestly, when it comes to like overall Pokemon games, Gold and Silver, that's my gold standard, pun intended. But those were the ones. Like, I grew up, I had Red, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was hard. I don't think I ever beat it as a kid. And then I got Gold, and that was like my bread and butter. Put hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game, and just Gold is always my favorite. When I replayed it, the Heart Gold or whatever, it was an incredible experience going through it again. And yeah, that one's always going to hold up. So this is basically the console version, if you will, of Pokemon Heart or Gold and Silver on the N64. Now, I do realize, trust me on this one, I do realize that this is not the console Pokemon game that we've been wanting and still kind of haven't gotten yet. I know Arceus and some of the newer ones on Switch have gotten close, but for me, a lifelong Pokemon video game fan, it still hasn't quite hit that echelon of what we've all been looking for in that huge, beautiful open world Pokemon game. And I can only imagine the disappointment for Pokemon fans, console fans, everything, that this wasn't that experience. Now, I fucking love this game. This might be one of my favorite experiences with a Pokemon game since maybe the first time I started playing Arceus and stuff like that, like just a new experience. But this really blew my socks off a little bit. And I will say, maybe the hardest Pokemon game I've ever played. And I loved it. I loved the difficulty of this game. And the only reason why it was difficult is because I didn't play it the way that the creators of this game intended it to be played. So originally, when this game came out, it came out along with Gold and Silver on the Game Boys. And you had you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm kind of flying from my seams here, but I believe there was some sort of expansion pack, an adapter that you can plug in your Game Boy and have your Gold and put your Pokemon into the N64 game with their moves, their levels, and, your build for your Pokemon. Why it was so difficult for me is because I was playing it on the Switch online, and henceforth I do not have the ability to transfer said Pokemon to my Switch. It just doesn't work. So you are forced to use rental Pokemon, and we will talk a little bit more in depth about the rental Pokemon, but the rental Pokemon are just terrible. For the most part, they are, you have access to all 252 Pokemon. That is awesome, but they are built like every Pokemon is just built like just so stupidly. Like, you got Charizards with Embers, you got fucking Zapdos with Thunder Shocks, and just like, and then you got the fucking Charmander with Fire Blast, and it's just like all mixed up. But it made for an extremely fun and, just for me anyway, puzzle strategy game to figure out how to take this game down with the fucking rental Pokemon challenge that they have presented to me. And man, was it ever a good time cracking this nut. So I think that is as much of an intro I can give to you for what these games are. Well, not really. I don't think I've done a very good job at all. Let me explain a little bit more what Pokemon Stadium is. In fact, it's a Pokemon battle simulator, basically. You aren't walking around to towns. You're not going in between on the routes, battling trainers along the way, catching and collecting Pokemon. That's eliminated. Just take a Pokemon game and just have pure battles. You're just battling your friends, you're battling trainers, you're battling gym leaders, and you're just making your way through, creating teams. And yeah, you're basically just doing the battling part of your regular Pokemon experiences, which is fine for some people, fucking want nothing to do with it for other people. I was in that boat as well. I understood that's what Pokemon Stadium was. I was like, I don't want that. I want a Pokemon video game. But don't listen to that. This is most certainly a Pokemon game. Just cut out the traveling and the RPG elements and a whole bunch of other stuff. But this game fucking rules. Don't get me wrong. So you have, let's just start with you can do battles with your friends. Pick a team of 6, battle it out, have fun. You pick a team of 6, but you use 3, as far as I can tell. I didn't play with anybody. So you have the mini games. We'll talk about the mini games. I played through all the mini games, and we'll just quickly go through them, and I'll pick out my favorite ones. They have this trainer tower thing. I have the names of the actual modes and everything, so maybe that will help. Pokemon Tower, that's basically I don't know which one's the main gameplay, but that was by far the hardest thing to get through, was the Pokemon Tower, where you're going through the regions, fighting familiar trainers from the Gold and the Red series. A little bit of a spoiler, but just like in Gold, when you beat that game, you unlock the whole other region from Red and Blue, which is incredible. So this is a meaty-ass game. I don't know how many hours I put into it total, but I have to feel like it's easily over 20. It was, and with all the retries and shit like that, I think easily over 20 hours, perhaps even 30. I don't know. The Switch does not track your Switch online things separately. It's all just one number, so I could do the math, but fuck that number. I'm not doing that shit. That's crazy. So you go through, you battle the trainers, and then at the end you fight the Elite Four like you always do, and then you fight your opponent, your rival, like you always do, and then you go to the next region, you do it all over again. But oh my god. So before we get into the gameplay and my experience and how I got through this game, this may even be a guide for people who are going to try and get through this like I did, because I did it, baby. And for the most part, I got most of my teams here and the Pokemon that helped me get through and everything like that. So if that's just too damn nerdy for y'all, too fucking bad. It's my show. So let's talk about a little bit of the graphics here. I'm not going to go too crazy on it because it's an N64 game. That system in general didn't hold up the greatest, but I feel like this game looks good. Apparently, it could look even better on the original N64 with the expansion pack, which I have, so there you go. They have all 251 Pokemon in here, all animated. Every single move that they do is animated. They don't just they're not amazing or anything. They're not running around and being crazy. It's not live active battles. It's just compared to the Game Boy, it's yeah, this is pretty fucking awesome right here. This is cool. They're fully animated. They're colored, and yeah, it's not bad, man. It really does the job. I didn't go and play with all 251 Pokemon, but there are some of them that really stood out with their animations. The one that made me bust a little bit laughing was the Kangaskhan. Because Kangaskhan has the little baby in its pouch, and fuck, man, when that Kangaskhan comes out, and it's just fucking whipping that poor little baby around, and it's just Jesus, that kid just whipping that poor baby all over the place. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, it's N64, man. It's early 3D models and stuff like that. It's blotchy, it's chunky, it's whatever the fuck terms you want to use for it. Again, it does not bother me. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was did they up it a little bit maybe with the Switch Online? I was this looks fucking fantastic to me. Yeah, the menus are really blurry and shit like that, but I thought the gameplay, getting in there, looked fine to me. I don't have a very high standard for graphics. As long as it's running well, which the game did, I had zero problems. I mean, it is an N64 game, so we fucking shouldn't have any frame rate problems at this point in our gaming lifespan. But yeah, no problems there, no crashes, nothing like that. So that was really cool. I thought graphically the game looks good. I thought it was nice. May even have been one of the nicest looking games on the N64, because there weren't that many games that used the expansion pack thing. It's Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong, Pokemon Stadium Feud, Majora's Mask, and a few others, maybe Turok or some shit like that. Yeah, not a lot of games utilize the expansion pass, but considering how many Pokemon are in this game, it makes some sense. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Sound design, admittedly, didn't really have it on the whole time. If you go back to any of my previous times when I'm playing games handheld, I don't like to have the sound on so that my wife will divorce me from annoyance with all the sounds going on over there and shit like that. So I kept it to a minimum, but when she was away and I'm just playing by myself, oh buddy, cranking up, let's hear that commentary, let's hear the dude going crazy, oh shit, it's a thunder attack, oh, it's a super effect. It does the job, man. It's pretty damn impressive for the time, how much variety there actually is in the commentary. You know, it's not mind-blowing for now. Like, I just had it off. Like, I was just playing this game, watching some challenge, watching some TV or whatever, and it was a fucking fantastic time. But listening to some of the music, you know, it's got that Pokemon flair, and it's definitely got that N64 sound. I really don't know how to explain it, but when I heard the music, I was just like, that's N64 right there, dog. I don't know what it is, but it's got that N64 sound. All right, let's get into the gameplay modes and my adventure getting through this shit. So let's start with the Pokemon Tower, which, like I said, takes you through the regions. You're battling the Pokemon leaders, which will take you to the Elite Four and the champion, and then you get to move on to the next one. So, before I even get into that, I just love the fact that every trainer, every gym battle, every battle you're in, your opponents have nicknames for all their Pokemon. Now, they're not all clever. A lot of them are just like, you know, flipping their names around, or just adding like a generic word at the end of it for all of them. But regardless, I was like, that's fucking cool, man. Because, like, I feel like that's something a lot of people would do. They're not just like, you know, how you name your dogs and cats. Like, I know there are some people that name their dog and their cat. I had a cat named Kitty once, and yeah, but I don't think everyone would call their Pikachu and their Charmander. They're gonna name it something else, like Steve or Daryl or something. I don't know. I love when people name their animals just regular people names. That's just like such a legendary badass move. Like, oh hey, what's your dog's names? Oh, that's Tony right there. That's the man right there. That's the homie. And yeah, so there you go. That's pretty good. What the hell was I talking about? Yeah. So you go through, loving the nicknames. That was some good stuff. None of them, like, stood out. I didn't, like, write any of them down because they made me giggle. It's just something that I noticed. Like, I was like, oh, man, every one of them has a nickname for their Pokemon. So that was cool. So going through the gym leaders, there's really not a lot to say outside of the battles were hard. So like I said, why it's so damn difficult is because I'm using the rental Pokemon, which, again, if you are a seasoned Pokemon player and you've been looking for a hard Pokemon experience outside of the Nuzlocke challenges or some bootleg copy online where they make the difficulty really crazy, this is where it's at, bro, because what makes this game hard is you have to fucking, like, the AI is pretty damn good, I must say. Like, they're not stupid. They will change their Pokemon when they know you have their weakness. Like, they will change out, they'll throw something else out. Their teams, especially in the Pokemon Tower, are incredibly balanced. Like, there is rarely, if any, that are just like, yo, I have all water Pokemon. You can just have one electric dude and it will fucking sweep you. Nah. These motherfuckers have, like, the weakness covered, and the weaknesses covered. Like, I was fucking impressed. Like, within the second or third battle, I got humbled by a pine cone, basically. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, the Lavatar took me down. And I was like, bro, he just swept my fucking Charizard. Like, I was off the gate, I'm using all the big names. I'm like, yo, Dragonite, fucking Charizard, Gyarados, let's go. And then I get in there, and I'm like, yo, these moves suck. Like, you got fucking, like, tackle, and I'm like, yo, this sucks. And I get dominated by a Pokemon fucking 1/8 my size, and he one-shots me because everyone in these battles are level 50. Everyone's just on the same playing field, so you don't have all the same stats, of course. Like, you have the stats of the Pokemon. Like, your Charizard's gonna have fucking good special attack. Like, all those stats are here. You have special defense, attack, special attack, yada yada. Speed is so crucial in this game. You want to be attacking first and attacking often. That is a huge deal. You want to be attacking first. Okay, so back to the AI. These motherfuckers, like I said, they're not stupid. They have really good teams that, like I said, just they cover the board. They do a really good job. They're like, yo, here's my most powerful Pokemon. And you're like, all right, I know that bitch is weak to fire, and they're gonna have a water guy on that team. You know, and they, like, they pick their teams, but, like, you know that they know what Pokemon you're going to bring in, so they're gonna bring in a team that will counteract you pretty well. So you gotta know your Pokemon really good, and they are fucking smart with some of the Pokemon they pick. Like, let's say there's a water focused person, and they put in a Wooper who is immune to electricity attacks because they know you're going to bring in electricity Pokemon, and if you're dumb, you'll bring in all electricity Pokemon, and then that Wooper is going to fuck you up. So don't underestimate this game's difficulty because it's Pokemon. This game is hard when you're doing rentals only. So yeah, what you have to figure out, and I will admit, like, at times when I just didn't want to grind through looking through every Pokemon, seeing who has what moves. Every now and again, when I had some really tough times, which I had a few, I would look up and see what some other teams, like I would go online, watch someone's YouTube playlist, rentals only, and I was like, okay, what team did you go in with? And I was like, all right, that was their winning team. I'm going to copy that team, and I'm just going to try it out myself, and I'll figure out the puzzle on my own, because it's very much kind of like a puzzle every battle. Like, you have to figure out, okay, what's their trio going to be? What's their thing? All right, we got this person. Like, they focus on things too. Like, some of them might poison you, some might confuse you, some might paralyze you. Like, oh, they're almost always throwing a spin at you. There's rarely someone that's straight up just physically attacking you. And even when they are, they're a problem, and you better bring yourself a Wobbuffet. Oh my god. So you have the AI that is very intelligent. I would say one of the most intelligent, because that's been a huge complaint from, me as a Pokemon fan. It's like, damn, some of this AI sometimes, like, they're so stupid. Like, why would you not bring out this Pokemon instead of that Pokemon? Like, sometimes you just feel like they're unaware of the systems. And in Pokemon Stadium 2, almost they know it too damn well. Like, they are moves ahead of you. Like, they already know that you're going to shoot off a fire attack. I'm going to switch out, because switching out always goes first. And they're going to switch out, bring out something that's immune to that attack. Like, they're thinking 2-3 moves ahead. So that's what you got to be thinking like sometimes. It's awesome. Like, the amount of strategy I never thought possible in a Pokemon game. I was just so into it. So you're trying to figure out, all right, what kind of group are they doing? And sometimes they'll throw out a whole new group. Like, they come in with 6 Pokemon and they're picking 3. So you might be like, all right, I'm going in there. Okay, this trio ain't working against this trio. Let's try this trio. They send in a different trio that covers that. You're like, fuck! So you're just trying to figure out this puzzle. And I will admit, there is some RNG involved. You need some luck. You will absolutely need some luck to get through this. And the only way you're getting through this, like, if someone did this on the original N64, God bless you. You are amazing, because there's no way I would have the patience to do this over and over again without the Switch having save states. So I can do save states. I can just, because if you fail, let's just say the worst where it's the worst is the Elite Four. If you get to the second fight and lose, you start all over again. And you get to the last fight, lose, you got to start all over again. And they're very, very difficult, and you do not want to be doing that. So having the save states is virtually a must. Sometimes I would have to save state and just hope for luck that a move will hit, and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it's just destined to miss. You can reload it 1,000 times, and it'll miss 1,000 times. It is just destined in the cards. That attack is missing, so you just got to deal with it sometimes, but oh my god, man. I was just so incredibly impressed with the AI and shit like that. But trying to figure out which Pokemon have the best moves, and, I really had to do, like, kind of a fucking lesson on weaknesses and everything, because, like, now we're so far into Pokemon, the weaknesses and who's weak to what have changed, and I had to go back to 2001 style. I was like, okay, who's weak to, okay, dragons are still dominating, I'm scared, like, what do I do? So I had to figure all that out, and, remember that, I forgot that Wooper fucking doesn't take electricity damage. I forgot certain Pokemons don't take psychic damage and whatnot and so forth. So with that being said, now that you understand how difficult this fucking AI is, there's going to be a lot of, okay, this dude was hard, he had this, and this is what I did to beat them. So there's going to be a lot of that, but let's get into this. So off the bat, we got Morty. That bitch was hard. Like I said, Gengar, Marowak, Noctowl trio was fucking ridiculous, man. Like I said, you got that Marowak would fuck with me, man, because I'm bringing in these, like, special attack people, and then you got this Marowak that would just fucking whack me, and it took my Snorlax, a Kingdra, and Alakazam took him down. So I would say right here, Snorlax, Alakazam / Kadabra. I would even argue that Kadabra is the better Pokemon in this situation because Kadabra has Thunder Punch and it also has the stronger Psychic move. I might be Psybeam. Anyway, it just has stronger attacks and a Thunder Punch. So that can help a lot in certain situations. Alakazam, he's... The best thing about these two Pokemon is they're so fast. There's rarely I don't know if there is a Pokemon that is faster than Kadabra and Alakazam. So they were almost a mainstay on all of my teams because they're just so damn useful. And also Snorlax, because Snorlax is an absolute wall. Sometimes you need to have a brick wall that can just take some punishment and just grind down a win every now and again. So yeah, Snorlax, Alakazam, and Kadabra are going to make a lot of appearances for my teams. We have Black Belt Nick, who can, fuck himself. He was rocking a squad with these, one-hit KO potential attacks, and of course, I got hit with them, because, the AI, it just feels like their attacks that are, 50% accuracy, they always hit. But my 50% accuracy attacks, just never, ever hit. It's just God damn it. We got Jasmine. She was a bitch. Tough group of this steel, water type, and ice. That's just a nasty thing to deal with. She had a Sea King, a Nidoking, and the fucking Coruscant, whatever. That fucking piece of shit. That Coruscant, man. You're that thing obviously is going to be electric or weak to electric like all the other water Pokemon. No, because it's ground and it's resistant to goddamn electricity. So I was like, how do I beat it? And that Coruscant, oh my god. I was like, and this was the other cool thing about this game is that it made Pokemon that were fucking useless like Coruscant and made it a dominator in this game because it just has fantastic coverage for weaknesses. It has a fantastic moveset. I was blown away that I was getting fucked up so badly by some of the Pokemon that I remember growing up and laughing at. Oh my god, can you imagine if Love Disc made it into Pokemon Stadium and you have a Love Disc that is fucking you up? That's one of the worst Pokemon ever. Okay. We have Mahogany Jim, also tough, of course. You have Pierce with his ice and that fucking Donphan. Oh my god. So, I wouldn't have had so many problems with this Donphan if I just realized that Wobbuffet was so useful against physical attack enemies. So, if you have an opponent that is rocking only physical attacks, you bring out the Wobbuffet, who's got unbelievable defense and has the move counterattack, which is, it'll pretty much one-shot almost any Pokemon that you get that attack off of, because it will double the power of whatever physical attack just hit you. And it takes a lot, excuse me, to take down a Wobbuffet. Its defense is so crazy. So, yeah, if you're struggling with a Machamp or you're struggling with the Donphan, bring Wobbuffet with you. Wobbuffet will get you through those things. But be wary of the Wobbuffet because the Wobbuffet in any other situation is pretty much fucking useless. But yeah, I had Wobbuffet on my team for situations like this. Once I learned about it, took me a minute. To get through the Mahogany Gym, I brought in a Heracross. Heracross did work against the Mahogany Gym. So if you're struggling there, bring in a Heracross, maybe a Snorlax, you should be okay. Now we get to by far, probably the hardest thing to get through, and that is the Elite Four. It is absolutely insane to do it with rentals, man. To have a team of 6 that is just balanced enough to deal with 5 sets of opponents that have every single thing covered across the board. I had to get so freaking lucky. I don't know how many reloads I did getting through this fucking thing, but the team that I used to get through it was Fearow, Alakazam. You could probably bring in the Kadabra, would be better. Raichu, Slowbro, Primeape, and a Moltres. That is the team that I brought in there with me, and I feel like I can even improve on that team. There were some Pokemon in there that, the Raichu's only useful because it's so damn fast. The Primeape came in handy a little bit, and the Moltres strictly for a fire attack. Otherwise, I don't know. I probably could have came up with a better team, but that's the team I got through with. I copied it off of someone on YouTube. I was like, all right, that team got you through. I'll try it. And it took a ton And I mean a ton of trial and error to get through this, but holy fuck, dude. And Lance was the biggest piece of shit, man, because he's got the dragons, he's got all these ridiculously powerful Pokemon, but my Slowbro, the Primeape, and the Fearow, that is what took that son of a bitch down. So if you were struggling with Lance, like I did, it took me a while to figure out that puzzle, but Slowbro, Primeape, and Fearow, that's what took I think he had a Dragonite, a Tyranitar, and a Charizard, I think. His Tyranitar was just destructive. That thing, and Tyranitar is one of my favorite Pokemon, if not my favorite Pokemon of all time. And the rental version of Tyranitar is the biggest, most useless piece of fucking shit I've ever seen. Like, oh, what have you done to my beautiful Tyranitar? Just one of the greatest Pokemon ever. But the level of achievement that I felt getting through this Elite Four, I don't even care that I cheated and used save states. You have to. It is so hard. Like, my God, I felt so freaking good getting through that. I beat, Red after that. Nowhere near as hard because you don't have to go through 4 or 5 battles prior to that. So yeah, the Elite Four in Pokemon Stadium 2, probably the hardest thing I have ever done in a Pokemon video game. It was so fucking hard, but so rewarding and frustrating, because God, did I ever need a lot of luck, man. Like, you need to get one of their moves to miss every now and again. You need to use paralysis, you need to use sleep, you need to use whatever advantage you can get, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it just doesn't, and you get absolutely destroyed time and time and time again. So again, if that's not what you're looking for in a Pokemon experience, there's tons of easy Pokemon games for you to play out there. But if you want a fucking challenge, this is it. And we're not done. So after that Elite Four, the next region opens up. I think it's Kanto, maybe? I don't know. But these are the people I'm really familiar with. Like, you got Misty and Brock from the television show, and that son of a bitch, Lieutenant Surge. Oh my God, this guy fucked me up, man. He took me so many times. Why does this Raichu know Surf? Why does that little fucking electric mouse know Surf? God, he was so annoying to get through. And that Raichu is fast as hell. So I think that might be one of the only Pokemon that might be faster than the Kadabra and Alakazam. So yeah, watch out for Lieutenant Surge. That son of a bitch was awful. I had to bring in Wooper and Quagsire. So 2 Pokemon that were resistant to electricity and, were water Pokemon as well. So that Surf wasn't going to do a lot of damage, but it still did a ton of damage. Like, oh my God, that Surf was so deadly. And then the only one, like, after I beat the Elite Four, I really understood the Pokemon. I started to understand, like, all right, you don't just go in with the biggest and the baddest. Like, you bring in the fucking first evolution, because it's got all the best moves, and as long as you're fast enough, you can get the wins. So next one that gave me a tough fucking challenge was Red. The guy that basically resembles Ash Ketchum in the Gold games where you find him in the cave or whatever. And he threw me off because, I remembered him from Gold. I fought him a zillion times as a kid. I'm like, all right, we're going to have the Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, Pikachu, and others. And then he comes in with this totally different team. I was like, whoa. I don't even remember what he had. I think he might have had the legendary birds or something. I don't know. It was a really weird team, and it took me a second to figure it out, but I used my usuals, Kadabra, I brought Wobbuffet, and then the weird one, I used Diglett. I brought in a Diglett because it had, I think, Earthquake or something, and Earthquake is so devastating. What a move that is. I got destroyed by so many Earthquakes in this game because fucking everyone knows Earthquake, except for my fucking shitty rental Pokemon. I had to bring a Diglett, but it got the job done, you little bitch. I beat you with a Diglett. Like, get fucked. So, that is my experience getting through the Pokemon Tower. Super duper fucking hard, but so much fun. I just loved going through this. I just loved it. So, overall, just run down my favorite rental Pokemon that I wrote down here. Just so if you're looking for some quick go-tos, you got Snorlax, of course, just fantastic tank. You got Aerodactyl, Alakazam, Kadabra, Heracross, Pharaoh, Gengar, Gengar, I used a lot of Gengar. Poliwrath was pretty good. Voltorb and Electrode, those were good because they're very, very fast. Heracross and Wobbuffet. So that was like, yeah, pretty much my go-to. Like, yeah, you're going to see a lot of them. So after that, I get to the stadium tournaments, which I feel like might be like the main thing of the game. I'm not really sure, but it was so much easier. It's still tricky. I would even say still kind of hard even, especially the last one, but you have a few tournaments here. So I started with the Little Cup. This one was super fun, actually, because everyone is level 5 instead of level 10 or level 50, and you have, like, a way smaller pool of Pokemon to choose from. It's mostly, like, first evolutions. You randomly get a Chansey, and I think Snorlax was in there, but I used Abra. Abra was an absolute murderer in this fucking tournament, the Little Cup. He just smashed everybody with the Psychic and the speed. The only person I had troubles with was Tina. She was difficult, and the finals was very hard versus the Pokefan. That one, I wrote down here, I needed pure luck to win that one. So it was just trial and error, RNG, and I got through it. But I really enjoyed that, the level 5 Little Cup. That was a lot of fun. Just gave me, and it was perfectly timed because I was like, all right, I'm kind of using the same team a lot here, going to the same Pokemon, and this gave me like a whole new aspect. It's like, oh fuck, I got to use something else now. I'm scared. I got to the Poke Cup, which is level 50 to level 55. My squad that got me through this was Pharaoh, Gengar, Snorlax, Kadabra, Poliwrath, and Wobbuffet. Really had not a lot of trouble with most of these. The Pokeball tournament didn't really have a problem, just more battles. And like I said, at this point, when I saw a Pokemon that I was like, all right, I know how to get through this one now. And yeah, didn't have a problem with the Pokeball tournament. The Great Ball tournament, I found even easier. Kadabra alone almost won me that tournament. You start with Kadabra. He is one of the best sweepers in all of Pokemon because, again, that speed is just brutal. His special attack is so good. So, yeah, you combo that. Not a lot of people stopping a Kadabra. We got the Ultra Ball. That one was a little bit tougher. Teams at this point, so in the prior tournaments here, like I said, the teams getting built in like the Pokemon Tower, very good at coverage. Like if they have a water Pokemon, they have something else to counteract your electric Pokemon. These ones here, like the Pokeball tournament, the Great Ball, those two were like pretty simple. Like there's like, all right, I have water people, I got all rock people, so it was pretty easy to get through them. It's like, all right, I'll bring in a couple of these and we're good to go. They barely got through my Kadabra, like I said. Ultra Ball, that's where you started to get a little bit better balancing in their teams for their weaknesses. It was a little bit trickier, but again, not too bad. And then we get to the Master Ball. You knew it was going to be bad. It's the Master Ball. So and it was really fucking hard. I couldn't do it, honestly. I couldn't beat the final match. It was just too tough. I was just like, I can't. At that point, I was pretty burned out at puzzling together these fights and like trying out new combos and new teams. I was like, all right, you win. Like, that's it. I'm happy with getting through the Elite Four. I did not expect to get as far as I did in this game, but fuck, man, a hell of a hard game to experience right there. But we're not even done yet because there's mini-games. Mini-games. I know a lot of people love the Pokemon Stadium mini-games, so let's talk about the mini-games. Okay, so I think there's 12 mini-games. I might be wrong. I don't know. I'm not going to fucking count them out right here. I don't have time for that shit. Anyway, I played them all at least once. Some that I liked, I played more than once. So let's just start. I went from the beginning. I just went through all of them and gave them a try. So the Goldbat flying minigame can go to hell right now. That was just awful, dumb. I didn't like it at all. So the Goldbat minigame is we got the Hitmontop game. It was whatever, kind of like Beyblades, I guess. Like, if anyone did those. Beyblades was such a classic thing for me as a kid. Like, it was the one... No, wait, never mind. That was Bionicles. Or Bionicles? Is that what they fucking called? Classic with the Bionicles. I asked my parents for one forever because they're so popular at my ski. And then when I finally got one, they moved on to something else, and no one wanted to play Bionicle with me. Anyway, yeah, so the Hitmontop one reminds me of Beyblade. I wasn't a Beyblade guy, but it was fine. We get the pincer cutting the logs minigame. That one was cool. Took me a second to figure out what the fuck to do, but you just have to like time the cut and get as close to the line as possible without going over, I think. Yeah, that one I played a few times. I actually really enjoyed that one. One of my favorite ones. We got Ferret's Frolic. That was fine. Not very memorable. We got the Mr. Mime free-for-all Pong game. Now, that one was fucking cool. I like that one. Reminds me of, like, Fusion Frenzy, or I think there was a game like that in here. But you're playing as Mr. Mimes. There's 4 of you. And you're each, like, protecting a net. And you have your barrier up, and you have to block the ball from going in. And the physics for it are nutty. You get some crazy moments where the ball's just going nuts, and it flies over into the other net. You're like, whoa, I did not see that one coming. So, yeah, I really like the Mr. Mime Pong game. That one was good. The Dawn Fan race is pretty much what it is. You're Dawn Fan, you're rolling around, you're going around the lap, and I feel like you have to, like, I don't know, press the buttons or something to do something. I don't know. It wasn't very memorable. It was fine. Now, all of these definitely would be a lot better if I played them with somebody. I only played them, like I said, once or twice, just in case my wife wanted to play. We got into other games. I forgot to mention these mini games. So that's my bad. That's my bad right there. We had the Pichu Power Plant. I didn't like that one. I didn't really get it. The Pokemon counting one. Now that would be, this one I can say, I had a lot of fun with this one by myself, but this one could be a lot of fun with more people as well. It's just Pokemon will run, it's like, all right, count out the Diglets. A few Diglets will run by, maybe a Chansey to throw you off. And the last round is super fun. It's just like count everything, and they just throw a fucking insane amount of stuff at you. You're like, oh my god. That one was fun. Really enjoyed that one. The Togepi race, that one was really good as well. I can't remember it right now for the sake of me, but I have a thumbs up next to it, so I must have liked it. The Delibird delivery. This one I feel like I remember my uncle and my sister playing it or something. This one just really looked familiar to me, probably because it's like a lot of people's favorite, because it's damn fun. You're playing as the Delibird, who has it's kind of like a Santa Claus looking penguin thing, but it has a bag, and you have to go and collect presents, and certain presents are worth more points, and the more your sack is filled, the slower you get, and you have to avoid an obstacle. So yeah, there's a little bit of strategy there. Do you take a little bit? Do you take a lot? That one was a ton of fun. So yeah, Delibird delivery, good fucking time. Chansey egg catching game, I like that one because it's just like, it's simple. You're just moving from like left to right, catch as many eggs. Another one that would be a lot more fun with more people, but I enjoyed that one as well. And finally, the Eevee thing, it was whatever. By far, I think my favorite one is probably Delibird delivery. I'll do Mr. Mime free-for-all, pincer cutting, the logs minigame, Togepi race, Chansey egg delivery, and the counting. I'll go with those ones are my favorites. The rest of them are whatever, are bad. Not bad, but you know, the ones I didn't like that much. But yeah, dude, that is or Dudette, whatever. That was my experience with Pokemon Stadium 2. Now, doing a little bit of research here before I recorded this episode, I was looking at the review scores for this game, and they were shockingly low. I was like, wow, did people not like this game? Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like this package here, very meaty package for a Pokemon game. You get a ton of battles, super replayable, where you can go through with a bunch of different teams. Great if you have a sibling, you can play battles against them just over and over again. You have the mini games, you have like collectibles, which I didn't really get into it. I just wanted to play the game, but there's other side content, and like back in the day, the compatibility between the Game Boy Color and the system, being allowed to bring in your Pokemon. I think it's a good looking game with solid sound. What the fuck? Why did this game score so low? I am shocked. This game fucking rules. I think the reviewers were wrong. I think this game holds up fantastically today. I had a blast playing it in 2024. Yeah, dude, if I had to put if I was scoring this game in 2001 with me being my current age, this would be like a fucking 8.5, 9 out of 10 Pokemon experience for me. I loved it. I had so much fun. Scoring it on today's scale, like in terms of recommending it to you today to go out and play with all the other Pokemon games out there, I still think it's a solid like 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. Depends on what level of like difficulty and experience you have with Pokemon. If you're looking for something hard, this could scratch your itch. It definitely scratched my itch, and yeah, I am very, very satisfied right now. I was itching for some Pokemon, and yeah, dude, this did a very, very, very good job for me. Probably one of my favorite Nintendo Switch online experiences that I've had so far, between the Super Nintendo and the N64 and the whatever libraries they fucking have now. But yeah, dude, that was a hell of a good time. I had a lot of fun with Pokemon Stadium 2, and let me know your memories around Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2. It doesn't really matter. Maybe one day I will do an episode on Pokemon Stadium and play through it and do my due diligence, but felt like, why not do Pokemon Stadium 2? This is my generation of Pokemon here. These first 252 Pokemon, I know them like the back of my goddamn hand. I still own the Pokemon cards, and yeah, so this is like my favorite genre and or era or whatever gen of Pokemon, and I am shocked with myself that it took me this long to play Pokemon Stadium 2. I loved it. It was a really awesome time. I recommend it. But yeah, hit me with your memories of this game. Do you remember playing the mini games with your cousins or your siblings or whatever? Did you beat the shit out of each other? What was your favorite Pokemon? What's your favorite Pokemon in general? Not just Pokemon Stadium 2. If you put gun to my head right now, Tyranitar. I just love that guy. He's so fucking cool. That was like the first Pokemon I ever leveled up to 100. He was my boy. That's just my boy right there. So yeah, what's your favorite Pokemon? And go play this freaking game, dude. If you have not played it, go check it out. It is a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. It's hard, but very rewarding at the same time. So there you go, everybody. Another episode in the books. Thank you so much for listening. I haven't made an announcement yet, but I hit, I guess, there's really no one else working on this show but me, 5,000 total downloads. I know 5,000 is nothing to some of the other big podcasters. They get that in a day. But hey, I'm the little guy over here. I got 5,500 downloads now. Thank you, everyone, so much. It's a goal. I really had no end goal in sight with this. I just wanted to do it as like therapeutic, and I just love talking about these things. And yeah, so never thought I'd be at 5,000. Again, I just like thank you everyone for listening. If you're out there, if you're a robot, say hello. It doesn't matter. I mean, I would prefer if it was real people and not robotics that are listening to me, but if it is what it is, beep boop, beep boop. How's that? Do you like that? All right. So what else are we doing with the podcast this week? We got wrestling recap. I think we're pay-per-view list this week, so I can fucking try and catch up. Maybe watch a movie this weekend so I can, calm down with the wrestling. It's been very heavy on the wrestling, but Money in the Bank is right around the corner, and my wife and I are going to that whole show, that whole weekend. We're going to Friday Night SmackDown. We're going to the Money in the Bank Saturday and NXT Heatwave on the Sunday. So it is going to be our biggest wrestling weekend yet. Super excited. I can't believe how fast that's creeped up on me. So, yeah, that's going to be really fun to experience, to review those as a live experience again. I've done it a few times. I've been to some AEW shows, been to some WWE shows, even went to a TNA show, and it was a blast every single time. So I'm very excited. Can't wait to be talking about those pay-per-views. And, well, what the fuck other show do I do here? NHL, the hockey thing. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the hockey cast. Bro, if you are not watching the Stanley Cup Finals tonight, in like an hour and a half right now, this is must-watch television right here for sports. Like, the Edmonton Oilers are on the verge possibly of doing something that has only happened, I think, 3, maybe 4 times in the history of the NHL. I think possibly in sports. So something amazing is happening right now, and you should be watching it. So, and if you aren't, well, then listen to me recapping it then on Wednesday or possibly Tuesday or someday. I don't know. I might have to do an early episode because a lot of shit just went down in the NHL. Some crazy trades, like, oh man, and the floodgates are just starting to open with the NHL. We got some busy times coming up with the NHL, so stick around with me because I'm better, and I know it. I don't know. Anyway, but thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you girls for listening so much. Thank Goyles out there. I'm married, so leave me alone. But if you want to be even more awesome than you are for listening to this podcast, rate the podcast, review the podcast, share the podcast with a friend or two, and just let them know, hey, if you like wrestling, video games, or hockey, check out this podcast. You might be down with that. I also have a YouTube channel, Gamer GX Videos, where I upload all of these episodes to the channel. You can listen to them, watch them. I don't really put up any video, but it's there for you if you want them. And it's a great place if you want to have a question answered live on the podcast. Drop a comment on a YouTube episode, and I would love to answer a question from anyone about wrestling, video games, hockey. Doesn't really matter, but be appropriate and all that stuff. And yeah, there's also an email address if you want to just have like a private conversation. My door is open for anyone. And there is a Twitter page. Even I know it's Twitter, but it's there if you want it. I put up announcements as best as I can, let you know what's going on. I've had a few tweets lately about the Crash games that have been driving me a little bit insane at times, but there you go, everyone. Another episode down. Thank you again so much for listening. You the best, and we'll be back again with some more GX Plus Cast.